Hello, beautiful people. I am so excited. I can barely contain myself. As many of you know, I just try to work and live my truth. So I wanted to come back because it's been such a long time that I've been away, and it's not because I don't absolutely enjoy being here with you guys. I actually do. So I really missed you all. But I have been on, a really good time away from LinkedIn, getting to really enjoy some quality time. So I'm back here today and excited to be back. I'm a little rusty. I just touched my microphone. Y'all saw that, right? So just touching the microphone reminds you that it's been a little while since I've been able to come on and do this live. So let me remind those who may be joining me for the first time. My name is Leah Murphy. I am the CEO and founder of Career Jumps for the Journey, where we help talented professionals build thriving careers. So if you're here and you're joining me live on LinkedIn or on YouTube, please do drop your name and your city in the chat. And that way I can know who's here and who's really feeling the vibe with me, who this content is reaching. I know a lot of folks get the opportunity to listen on the replay, and I love that for you. I love that for me too, because the replay gives you an opportunity to fast forward, to rewind, to go back and listen to something a second time. So I love that as an option. So I'll tell you guys just a little bit about where I've been and what's been going on, and then we'll jump right into the content. So I have been all over the place, right? I did a lot of traveling over the course of the last 4 weeks. I traveled to a client domestically in the US and spent a great time with them, actually multiple clients. And then after that, my family and I, and many of you may have seen my LinkedIn post. If you haven't, I did a post that my family of 5 took our first international trip together, and we went to Puerto Vallejo, Costa Rica. So we had this beautiful time in this amazingly lush tropical environment. And it was just, us and having a great opportunity to recharge all of our batteries and kind of create memories together, which is, so huge for us. And then after that, it was back to school season, and back to school season in my household required my full attention and energy. Do you understand? My full attention and energy. So if there are any working parents who are out here who are also listening and you feel me, just go ahead and drop feel me in the chat, because back to school season, coming off of vacation, already having things coming back from the vacation and then jumping into back to school season, I may not do that to myself again. I may plan our vacation to be a little bit earlier in the season next year to give us a little bit more time. So all of that happened. All of that has transpired over the past few weeks, which kept me away from the platform, but ultimately has still given me, lots of opportunities for great, thoughtful content for all of you. And especially for my one-on-one coaching clients and my corporate clients. I was explaining to someone the other day that traveling abroad and being able to see the world is something that I'm personally passionate about. Having a respect for the earth being a broad environment and not just, the city or country that you're from, but also it allows me to be more engaged and more valuable to my clients as we come to, continue to operate in this very global economy. Being able to understand habits, rituals, cultures, supply chain, businesses, operations, limitations, climates, all of the things that happen outside of my designated location makes me a better resource for my clients. So because I know what they're experiencing, I understand some of the pain points that they may be working through. So those pain points then allow me to help design solutions that feel very much entrenched in what their needs are. And it helps me to be able to get to the place of understanding more quickly. So it's very mutually beneficial. It feeds me and my soul, right? It gives me a chance to rest and recharge, but it also allows me to be in an environment that my customers may be looking to grow in, or an environment that my clients may be thinking about as a need or a short-term assignment or any variety of things. So travel is the thing, right? Like I'm all about experiences over things. So experiences over things, and travel to me, when it's done well, can be like the ultimate experience. And it doesn't always have to be international, right? Like when we travel for the client, that was domestic, and I still had an amazing experience. But this idea that the very linear way that we live on the daily basis, or what we know in our day-to-day environment, It's completely different for somebody else. So being able to travel and be in another environment allows us to have empathy for other people's experiences and also to realize that there's more than one way to do things, right? It makes us more flexible. It makes us more permeable, right, as people, which is really important in business. So there you have it. That's what I've been doing over the past 4 weeks or so, give or take. But I'm super excited to be back. And I had intended to really just get right into the content that we were carrying from the last time we all had a chance to be together, which was really dope. And actually, I started getting really good feedback from it while I was away. And folks were like, where are you? Where are you? And it's nice to be missed. It is nice to be missed. But I'm back. I'm back and I'm very, very back. So excited to be very, very back and excited to be here with you all. I mean, lots of stuff has happened in the world over the last 4 weeks. We can't unpack all of that today, but in the world of career, as I think about the things that are that I want to make sure that we bring to this platform, carrying forward the things I wish I knew early in my career. So the last time we got together, we talked about things I wish I knew early in my career, early career experience edition. So we're talking about that 5 to 7 year mark, right? Early points in your career where you're still trying to figure out, what's my development area? What am I looking to do? What am I looking to accomplish? What do I want to be when I grow up, right? There's some of those questions that are still being asked, but you're also learning that you can add value to an organization. And you're also learning that, doing the right things as far as, collaborating can be amazing. So what I talked about there was really tied a little bit to the compensation side. And for those of you who don't remember, please do go back and watch that live where we talked about things I wish I knew early in career. And I talked about that 3% increase, that 3% salary increase that is like your employer may make it seem like, oh, this is great, for meeting expectations and even exceeding expectations. Maybe you're getting 3 to 4% increase if you're in a, kind of traditional corporate environment. Nonprofits and academia operate differently. Startups and even tech or different industries, even in medicine, different bonus structure. But if you're in corporate, that, that range of 3 to 4% is pretty consistent. But what I learned is, and I wanted to make sure just as a reminder, if you're getting 3 to 4% and your interest or the cost of living, inflation is above that, you're actually losing money. You're actually taking a loss on behalf of continuing to stay in that organization and stay with that company. So I'm not going to get all into the detail of it here because it was really great content. And it was definitely something I wish I knew earlier in my career. And what it would have done was it would have impacted my perception of making transitions in my career. When is it appropriate to leave the organization, to ask for a promotion, to ask for additional compensation? It would have made a big difference if I understood the economics of what was happening in the background. So, so this week I wanted to make sure, because I've been seeing a lot of dialogue around relationship building, right, and relationship building and business development, which sales, all of the things, right, they're all kind of tied together. But what I wanted to talk about was really the idea of networking. And networking early in career has a tremendous potential because, I think it's well known now that networking, building relationships and making sure that you know other people in your organization and outside of your organization is valuable. But I don't know that we really speak to the why it can be so valuable. So first, the inside your organization, I think it gets discussed a lot because it talks about how do you make sure that people know what you're doing and what's the value that you bring to the organization. And those people tend to work inside of your company. And when people know the value you bring to the organization, then you have the ability to negotiate. You have the ability to ask for more, right? Ask for what you deserve. And that makes a huge difference. And what I would say early in career, I spent a lot of time focusing on making sure I had great relationships inside of my local part of the organization. And many of you know my background is in supply chain and in manufacturing. So in the plant, in the factory that I worked in, because it literally was a factory, like picture me, steel toe boots, laced up, navy blue pants, a polo shirt, and a hard hat with a hairnet. right? That was me. And making sure that I had great relationships inside of that building was phenomenal. But then when it was a chance for me to go and visit corporate and world headquarters, I realized that that part of the organization was very, very small. So, like, knowing that that was such a small part of the organization made me realize, okay, I need to have relationships here at world headquarters. So then I would spend the time building a relationship here at world headquarters. And then I would realize, well, I want to take a special assignment or I want to get this other opportunity. And it would be someone at a different manufacturing location that I needed to build a relationship with or that had influence there. So it started to be clear that there can't be this one dimensional networking. And the networking is not just vertical. Issa Rae has given us all the gems to say, there's horizontal networking, right? We're working with people across to be able to really collaborate. And that was so instrumental for me in my career. And I just think it's a really underrated skill, horizontal networking within your organization. And then, right, so that's with the company you already work for. Let's take it to the next level. Who knows you outside of that company? Because the realization for 90% of us early in career is I'm not going to retire here. I'm not going to stay at this one organization for my entire career. So then it requires you to start thinking about who knows you outside of your company. And, the friends, family, loved ones, great. They're amazing. Um, Thinking about who knows you, who can help you build your career, who you could learn from, continue to network with, and get opportunities to be mentored, to be coached, all of those things. Who knows you outside of your organization? And are you spending as much energy inside of your organization as you are outside to build that relationship? Because that's where the credibility has a lot of potential for you to get your next great opportunity. So I'd love to give a couple of gems of just some ways to go about thinking about taking that action. Because I know for many folks who are already employed and working full-time jobs, it's like, well, then how am I supposed to build relationships outside of my company when I'm working all the time? I hear you, right? That makes perfect sense. That building relationships in addition to working your day job can be time consuming. But I think ultimately it can be the difference maker as to whether or not the organization you're in is the right fit for you and you feel confident that you have options to move on and move on quickly without it being applying into a black hole, which a lot of us, can find ourselves doing. So definitely take advantage and use the programs and platforms that you have available to you. Obviously you guys see that I broadcast on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn has a lot of value as a platform, but I want to make sure we talk about if we're off platform and the ways that we can network and build relationships. Sometimes you can do it while you're working. And the first one that I absolutely love as a recommendation is if you go to professional development events and conferences that are sponsored by your company. So your company will sponsor a certain amount of people to go to certain events. And if you can have the opportunity to get sponsored to go to the event, whether it's as a recruiter or whether it's as somebody on the team who's helping to facilitate or work the event, it's a great opportunity for you to build relationships on your company time, on your company dollar often also. If that's not an option for you, because that seems pretty unique, right? An opportunity to be able to recruit or be on a conference planning team. Cool. If that's not a fit for you, the next option that I would suggest is a professional organization that is already tied to the work that you do. So it takes you out of the idea of, the organization that I currently work for is getting all my attention, but it's still aligned with your discipline, the area in which you work, your area of expertise. And the reason why I say that is because it's easier to justify to your company attending these conferences as your professional development dollars or investment. So if you're trying to, figure out how to get the broader exposure and build your network and do it in a way that is cost effective, choosing a professional organization that is tied to your discipline. So for example, my background is in engineering, and I did work for a number of different companies in an engineering capacity before I became, before I broadened my skill set and started doing other work. But ultimately, I always came back to the opportunity to focus on developing my engineering skill set. So I was a member of the National Society of Black Engineers. Love the organization. They are legit fire. It's a student-run organization, NSBE for short. Anybody who knows knows. NSBE did all of the right things as an undergraduate and early career professional for me. Tremendous value, right? But being at those conferences was a networking explosion. Like it was the best relationship builder. Even if I wasn't taking away a one-to-one relationship with a person, I was learning more about organizations that I wanted to work for in the future. I was going to breakout sessions and getting professional development from speakers. I was able to, see new technology that was coming out. And there were always executions and displays. It was a very, very fruitful experience for me. And I always came back just recharged, like, okay, cool. If I'm thinking about graduate school, there's a lot of resources there. If I'm thinking about broadening my career, there's a lot of resources there. So it was a win-win. And because it was a professional organization, because it was aligned to my discipline, my company always supported me attending the conference and they paid for me to go. So boom, now we're at a win-win. I'm getting the development that I'm looking for, and they paid for me to go. So some other examples of great organizations that I have found, and we're talking early career edition, that have been really helpful is the National Black MBA Association, another fantastic, amazing organization. They actually put together an annual conference every year. And similar to NSBE, their annual conference has a career fair component. In the career fair component, they're doing resume reviews. They're giving you coaching on how to nail your interview. They're really pouring into you to figure out what's the best resources that you need, and then you go and deploy them in the way that makes sense for you. So I love the National Black MBA Association. They're actually hosting their annual conference in Philadelphia, in my city, this week. So I'm actually going to attend their conference even now, post, mid-career, executive level. They still have the potential to be a great professional organization for a different reason now, right? Early on in my career, they played one role, and now they play a completely different role. The National Society of Black Engineers has a similar function, where early in my career, it was really around how do I get the professional development that I'm looking for? How do I build relationships? How do I get in front of these companies in a really concentrated way? Like, rather than I'm going 5, 6, 7, 8 different places to see top tier Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies, I can see them all in one location. And the other part of professional organizations is they have a certain level of credibility that's in the market. So that credibility comes with some benefits that you get to benefit from because you're at the conference. Now, there are other professional organizations, lots of them are tied to affinity. Lots of them are also tied to your discipline. Society of Women Engineers is one that I'm really familiar with. I've heard AMA, American Marketing Association for marketers. I've heard lots of organizations that are doing this kind of work. So if the organization is doing a good job, they can grow with you throughout your career. And it'd be less about professional development, more about networking, relationship building, more about, opportunities to collaborate as an entrepreneur. It just goes on and on. So what the real takeaway here that I want to be really transparent about with you all is the network is the gem. The network is everything as you're growing in your career. And it's not because you're necessarily looking to jump jobs, but it could be you're looking to get into grad school. It could be you're looking to collaborate, with another entrepreneur. It could be anything, right? I don't think that I have to convince you guys why networking is important. I think the how is that the way to do it that feels cost effective and also effective for your time is the part that I think is really important. And I wanted to make sure that we kind of had a chance to talk through that. The last thing, and I'm going to close with this, is as you think about bringing on these professional organizations into your career experience, you can then contribute to them in a really significant way. And the reason why I say that is because once you become a senior executive in your organization, say you're, director, senior manager, vice president, executive vice president, you name it and up, now you have a chance to be a speaker at these conferences and to add value should you choose, to host a workshop, to be able to facilitate something major for them. So now it's not just you're giving back to the organization, you're increasing your visibility. So if you're increasing your visibility and more people get to know more about you, now you continue to double down on this, who knows me outside of my organization, right? So there's the foundation is always you have to be credible in your organization. You have to be doing good work inside your organization and your reputation should be strong. But part of this network is how you build a strong reputation. If you start to do this work, build these relationships, connect with these people, show up consistently in these spaces, then eventually you have the opportunity to be able to add value in those spaces and broaden your network, broaden your relationships, increase your visibility. And that can really be a game changer in your career. So early in my career, in that 5 to 7 year mark, even going up into the 10-year mark, I really wish I knew or fully exercised early in my career building relationships that were horizontal as well as vertical, right? So that's 2 dimensions, right? Then we got to build the third dimension, which is outside of my organization. So it's really, what does 3-dimensional networking look like? And there are layers to each one of those dimensions. But if you start to think really proactively early on in your career, I want to be well known inside of my organization. I want to be credible inside of my organization, but I also want to make sure that I continue to build my network and build credibility outside my organization. And professional development opportunities, professional networks, professional organizations have the potential to be able to be huge in that. The other thing that I think that doesn't get talked about as much is social organizations can still be great networking opportunities. And the thing that comes up oftentimes is whether you're in athletics, whether you're playing tennis, whether you're playing golf, whether you're line dancing, all of these things are always opportunities for you to say, like, this is a network of people who have something to be able to add value, but you have to tap into it. You have to recognize that it's a network and recognize there's an opportunity for you to add value as well as for you to leverage. Another place is sororities and fraternities and other, Greek letter organizations. These can be tremendous networking opportunities and great relationship builders, but it requires you to get in, right? It requires you to participate and be engaged, and then you can take advantage to be able to leverage the organization while you're adding value. So early in career, I really wish that I would have really felt that parallel path to network inside of my organization and outside of my organization. So I had this 3-dimensional approach so that when I was ready to make a transition, those opportunities and those relationships were ripe. And it felt like I could make a call directly to someone, or it felt like I could get a referral directly from someone to help my candidacy, right? You still have to apply, you still have to pass all of the things that go on with the application, but to help your candidacy as someone who's applying for new roles or someone who's applying to graduate school or any variety of things when you're looking to grow, right? When you're looking to start a business, when you're looking for funding as an entrepreneur, right? It goes deeper. So really thinking about that 3-dimensional networking and staying close to organizations and systems that benefit you professionally, but also give you the network that you're looking for, and then allow you to invest in the network and broaden your own visibility. Now you're talking about a real career strategy that can be super impactful and differential. So I wanted to make sure we talked about that. I actually contributed to an article on LinkedIn that I'll repost here just so you guys can see. I think professional organizations are a really underrated but super valuable tool as you're thinking about making a career pivot or advancing in your career, and they can be super transformational as far as your relationship building. So I miss you all, and I'm back. You will see me here next Tuesday. I will continue to be here every Tuesday, but I do need a little bit of feedback from you guys. So if you are watching me live, I'd love to know if folks would see the value in moving us up to 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So right now we come on at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it has been an amazing shift, right? We were doing a whole different time slot before, and now, the feedback has been great. We got equal feedback for 2 o'clock and for 12 o'clock. And I haven't tried 12 o'clock yet. So I wanted to get some feedback from you. If you're watching this live or you're watching this on the replay and you have a particular benefit to moving the slot to 12 o'clock, drop 12 o'clock in the comments. And if you want to keep it at 2 o'clock because you have been able to join live, or you watch the replay so it doesn't have a huge difference for you, drop 2 o'clock in the comments. I would really appreciate the feedback, and that'll let me know the people who are deep and engaged and benefiting from this experience. So this has been dope. I will see you guys next Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll be looking for your feedback in the comments and in your DMs. And I don't want to forget, you guys, as always, QR code here that's right here on the screen. You have an opportunity to grab a copy of Salary Power Moves, Winning the Compensation Negotiation. You can do it right here from the LinkedIn Live now. Game changer, y'all. game changer. I'm going to make it happen for you. Try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to benefit from all of these resources. So I think that covers everything for us today. There's more stuff that I didn't touch into, but I had to keep this down to 25 minutes. I told you guys I'm going to keep that commitment to make this digestible and accessible for you. So this has been amazing. I look forward to seeing you guys the next time, and I will be here Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live, and you can always take advantage of this on the replay. Take care.